We're going to go over today how to use the integration to send all of your customer and loan information from Encompass over to your mobile app. What you want to do is you want to start by completing a loan application. If any of the data that's important to your customer's invitation or their experience in the mobile app is incomplete, you will see a red exclamation point appear next to one of these data points. So if you're missing hazard insurance, there'll be a red exclamation point there. Anything that does not show an exclamation point means it's sort of an optional thing, like not all loans have mortgage insurance or HOA dues, so we don't require that. What you're going to do is you're going to find over here on the left hand side, you may need to select all and show in alpha order. Sometimes you don't, depending on how your Encompass is set up, but you're looking for the PAM 2.0 form. Once in here, you're going to just double check to make sure everything is complete the way you want it. And then down at the bottom, there are a few questions you need to answer. The first question is, do you want to grant your realtor and client the ability to request a pre-qual or pre-approval letter, depending on what you guys call it? Go ahead and check that box if you do. The next question is, up to what DTI do you want your client to see a qualified status? So this is two important validations. The first is, up to what point do you want your client to see a qualified status, meaning that you're telling them they can afford the home based on the scenario they just ran. The second is, if you've granted that client access, as long as they're underneath this back-end ratio, they're going to be able to issue that letter directly from the phone, okay? Or they're going to be able to request it depending on how your settings are. The third one is, up to what DTI do you want your client to see a not qualified status? This is sort of an older feature, and so what you're looking to do here is just add a pretty significant number as far as the back end, something that's way up there, and eventually in the near future we're going to be getting rid of this. So for the time being, what you can do is you can just enter 50% or 60%, just a DTI that's way too high. And then the next thing is go ahead and enter the maximum loan amount. Remember, we are moving away from self-induced loan restriction or loan amount restrictions. We are now going to let debt to income dictate for our clients which homes they can qualify for. So the number we're looking for here is truly the limitation that the guidelines for the loan program set, or the county limitations for a loan like an FHA or USDA loan. So put those limitations in here. Then you're going to want to hit select all, which is going to select all these boxes. And this is, by the way, how you're doing setting up an initial client. If you got something to update later to the system, maybe you don't select all. If you just want to update the price for your client, you could just check the appropriate box and then click Sync to PAM. But for the initial invite, hit Select All and Sync to PAM. From there, you're going to go to the website, and you can do that by clicking directly on this link here to go to the PAM site. I already have it open, so I'm just going to pull it up. Here is the borrower account that was created as a result of that invitation. So as you can see, I have the loan officer's name, I have the realtor's name. To get the realtor in there, you need to make sure your file contacts are complete. So go to your tools, click File Contacts, go down to your buyer's agent and select the correct buyer's agent here, so that agent's contact information is added and they're connected to the loan file. Even if you have not created a loan inside of the back-end server here, this will actually create that realtor contact for you. It does not, however, invite the realtor. So you may need to go in later, give that realtor a call, explain to them what the app does, and then send the invitation out. Okay, but it will attach the realtor to the borrower. So once we've created that integrated contact here and now they're in the system, if you said send an invitation out, great, they've already got an invitation. You'll want to look for this right here. It's going to say not active, invited, or active, depending on what status it is. If you haven't invited them, you can click directly on the indicator here where it's not active, or you can click invite borrower and select how you would like them to get that invitation. Next, I want to just double check that all the data from the loan file came over correctly. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to check is my loan options. This particular loan file was set up with a conventional loan. So as you can see here, if I'd use this drop-down menu, I could see there's a calculator next to conventional. I'm going to double check that thresholds are correct. So in this case, you can see 42%. That's the number I used inside of the integration. This is the minimum down payment that I set. That's the maximum loan amount. And MI factors is something that you may need to update for the client depending on how flexible they are. What I mean by that is Encompass tends to be very monogamous in how it treats loan program types, and even more monogamous when it comes to mortgage insurance factors. Because you can only send from Encompass, you can only send one factor based on one tier. So if you've got a 5% down loan, it's only going to send us this number right here. Okay. If you want these, if you want your customer to be able to change their down payment, then you need to update these factors. Now you can do that a little bit easier using loan templates, and that is another video. You can learn more about loan templates by clicking this question mark icon and learn how to build those templates. Okay, so this looks fine. Next thing is I just want to verify income. So as you can see down here, the income looks correct. The customer does not have any debt. If you need to change anything in here, click on Edit Borrower, and you can adjust or change anything by clicking Add Income, Add Debt, whatever you'd like. And then down here at the bottom, what you're really looking for is this. This is the most important thing that you could see when you're in the app. This is a qualified status. This is indicating that the customer qualifies for the scenario that you entered for them. In this case, you can see that the purchase price is $280. They're putting a 20% down payment. The loan amount's this. The rate is this. And based on this information, they're at an 18% back-end ratio, and they are qualified. Okay, so they will have access to print out a letter based on the calculation that they're going to see when they first log into the app, which is all this information. Now, if you want to change the calculation, let's say, for example, this is a not qualified status and you realize that you synced the scenario over that had a DTI too high, then you can go down here to Edit Loan and you can adjust anything that's in here, right? So let's say you want them to see a 5% down payment as a default. You want to adjust the rate to be a little more conservative. You'd like to make property taxes, instead of an annual dollar amount, you want to change them to a percentage. So you can do that by toggling percent and then changing that. And then when your customer logs into the app, every time they change the price, it's going to adjust the taxes. And it just becomes a little bit easier for them to use the app. So that is the information you're going to double check when you're in here. Again, if you have not sent the invitation out, you can do that by clicking Send Invitation, Invite Borrower, or by clicking here. And again, if you need to attach a processor or a loan officer assistant, click on this link, grab the person that you need to attach, and you'll be off to the races. So this has been a real quick video on how to use the Encompass integration. As always, if you have questions or you need support, feel free to reference us or ask us questions by clicking here. We will get back to you as quickly as we can. Thanks.